It can be girls' night.
All right. So, for the record, this is officially my thank you for being here. My looking forward to what season 7 holds. And this is Soup City Sins, season 7, episode 1, Words and Magic. The shelter has, in the last few days and months, dealt with several hundred different permutations of drama and trauma, resulting in all manner of destruction and death. They have not only unmasked a heretofore secret army of thin bloods, information network operating beneath and around all of the many other kindred information networks. To what ends is anyone's guess. They have uncovered the truth of the reason why kindred are not allowed in Chinatown. They have found the heart of madness and cut it beating from its own chest. And they have also discovered one of the many avenues that the Castiglione and Tories use to maintain their power, despite their obvious criminality and their flouting of nearly every major and minor mortal law. In coming to grips with all that they've suffered, survived, and overcome, having taken moments for themselves, they are returned to this shelter's haven to prepare for the trial of sorts for a Tremere who'd operated not only above their station, but conducted a wild assault on the bulk of the Chantry. Because of the actions of Mrs. Sciattino in the midst of the Chantry itself, it is believed that either her agents or their allies launched a counterattack against the Chantry itself. Many kind were laid low or bespelled into near oblivion due to their violent actions in setting the Chicago main Chantry located in Hyde Park aflame, no more than 2 nights after Miss Sciattino's outburst. As such, in line with their centuries-old orders, rites and rituals and rules of order, a trial of sorts has been set. So gathering just after sunset at the Haven, Dizzy and Hestia prepare for what is to come.
Hestia, I'm sure, looks a little tired than she normally does, even for being undead. So there's a definite, a bit of dark under the eyes, a little frazzled nature to her normally well put together self.
Dizzy's probably been MIA for a couple days now, the 2-3 days that we've had, but she shows up just looking fabulous and well rested.
The balance of freedom, the balance of apparent in both of their faces, in one extreme or the other of that spectrum. There is a sparseness to the Haven recently. And while the power of the place is no less present, breathing in the space, the warm communal air of the shelter itself, combined with the wide open physical spaces and closed in spiritual places, because while not haunted, being an epicenter of one of many dragon roads, one of many ley line nexuses throughout the city, the Haven has a certain ebb and flow of power that never really subsides.
Okay, did you get what she was doing? Because I didn't hear what you said in response.
In preparing for the evening, what is it that Hestia is doing?
Yeah, so you missed that whole thing. Okay. She's in the library going over anything Karen might have left behind as to previous trials of this nature, how they might have gone, kind of basic structure sort of situation. She wants to be the best judge she can be. And this is, how she is, typical studying, because that's what she does best. But in this case, she's also looking a little, like I said, a little frazzled, a little darker under the eyes than she normally does, due to everything that's happened in the past couple of days.
The trial, the adjudication of any member of the Chantry once carried out within the Chantry follows a simple question and answer. Once each of the judges have had the opportunity to question to their full satiation, they must decide unanimously guilt. If that is not the case, the offending warlock is censored and punished for the action without it meeting the full burden of punishment, meaning if the crime that they've committed was worthy of death, they may be staked. If the crime was worthy of them being lashed, they may be struck. If the punishment was worthy of them being verbally censored, they get off almost completely free, unless there's a unanimous decision of guilt.
Okay, yeah, so then that's what she's gonna keep in mind, and it also helps with her coming up with her own questions, because she definitely does not want to ask this person anything having to really do with the fire, knowing who actually started the fire or where it came from.
Excellent. And while you're conducting that strategy, would you be so kind to go ahead and roll resolve an occult for me, please, as you're cycling through and ciphering through and breaking Karen's code to understand her journal entries, as well as ciphering through several of the apocryphal copies you have on hand pertaining to the Hermetic Order of Tremir's rules of order. And while that's happening, with that spooky semblance of power that is always present at Haven, that few months ago feeling of home that Dizzy had, of having that burden yoked to her neck, isn't as overwhelming, isn't as ever present as it was before these last few nights, as the ending of several things took place. So when Dizzy returns to prepare for this necessary step, being not only a deputy hound, but considered fully a member of the shelter, is there anything in terms of the operations of the shelter that Dizzy is attempting to accomplish, or is there anything that Dizzy is attempting to write within herself or address while she's here?
Not really. She'll probably walk around and see if she can find anybody.
Well, Hestia is usually either in her library or in her lab, both of which are, you have the floor map of the actual hidden access to get to. Most of the others seem either gone or having not stayed for the last couple of nights or a night or two. Hestia, right near the end of her finalizing her notes, there is a seldom used but a very viable tactic that the accused could use. They could, if push came to shove, challenge any member of the adjudicating body to certainment. They could foist responsibility onto any of the adjudicators if push came to shove. And it's seldom used because usually the judges are considerably far more ranked than the accused, but occasionally, in the case of someone of sufficient strength being challenged in such a manner, being held to an adjudication, they could.
So that would seem like to her there's a big old target possibly painted on her back, because they asked her to do this, and she's technically not a ranking member insofar, because the official welcome back hasn't happened. And while she knows how strong she is, having fought with Sylvia, nobody else knows how strong she is.
Correct. Officially, having not attained a acclaimed rank within the Chantry, Hestia's outside of the structure, even though she has been welcomed back. And she knows for a fact that Sciatano was a 7th ranked member of the Chantry. Top 5 ranks, steps of the pyramid for the local Chantry start at 7, and being a 7th stepped warlock means that Sciatano would have considerably more ability than the average practitioner.
Okay, so personally, between what Hestia knows she can do, where would she feel like she would be typically ranked compared to this person? Like, not socially, but like skill-wise.
That is a very good question. Bear me one quick second here. Alright, so are you able to view what's taking place on my screen?
Yep.
Excellent. So let's go out and in to refresh a little bit of the information possible. As we zoom in here, you'll see the rough ranking. They're at the top level, the regent, and following it ordered down from there is the approximate ranking. This is the 7th rank there of the pyramid, which means everyone that's part of the Chantry that falls below that line are considered rank and file. Moving here and up are the more notable, powerful, either socially or actually powerful Tremere.
Yeah, and then we knew Sylvia was right under Deuceval. So, granted, Clyde helped her take Sylvia down, but she still held her own for a little while, and then she also held her own somewhat against Sunshade as well, who was originally in that 3rd tier, if I remember right.
Sunshade was officially right here before everything that took place.
As I said, I remember the yellow was Sunshade. So technically, skill-wise, I feel like Hestia would know or feel very strongly like she was at least in that 4th tier, if not the 3rd.
Okay. With that being the case, what is it that Hestia is concocting as Dizzy enters the room?
I definitely feel like she would get spells, all her routines, locked down. So just walking the heck away from here, but I can't. I promised my sire that I would be a good person, and this is my attempt at being a good person. I'm failing miserably, mind you. I just killed somebody else and ate their whole soul, and they're never going to be reincarnated. So I'm really doing the best job possible at this whole being a good person thing, mind you. Yeah. But yeah, I've thought about walking away. I just can't.
Well, I don't mean like permanently. I just mean for a couple days. It's like the dull roar of insects here. The longer you stay around, the more you notice it. And just getting away from it for a couple days. I mean, it was good for me. I'm sure it'd be good for you.
Unfortunately, I think the only way I'm gonna leave for any amount of time is staked somewhere in Toper. But with that cheerful thought, tonight,
mentioning staked or Tolpered, Bill walks in, having followed the previous path you all took through the morgue to enter into the Haven.
What's up, new guy?
Out of character, sorry for being late. where are we after we kill those acolytes?
A couple of days later, inside the Haven, in the library area, as Hestia and Dizzy are in the middle of a conversation when Bill pops back in, Lucio has not been visible nor around as of late.
Okay. Does Bill know the aftermath of what happened?
Short and sweet. Bill assassinated one of the heads of a different sect of will workers. There was revenge sworn, but because of the favor owed and the debts they were paying, there was no actual direct action. Hestia has seemed to have several weights placed around her shoulder ever since. Lucio has been busy doing what is unknown to Bill, but he knows that Lucio will eventually return to the Haven, so he needs to be around as much as possible to catch sight of him. And this is where we are.
All right. When DC salutes him, Bill's looking around. Hey, hello, ladies. After all that hula baloo a couple of days back, I was hoping to catch Lucio, and you know if he's gonna come around at some point.
He wasn't here when we got back, and haven't seen him in a little bit. But I also heard some weird stuff about some things, and I don't know. I think he's helping somebody out. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes.
Well, that's all right, I guess. When you are immoral, a couple of days don't make a dent, right?
Yeah, he has to be back by Friday because he told the Dawn that we would meet him on Friday. So as long as he's back by Friday.
Well, I suppose that you are the entrepreneurial kind. Looking at DC.
Who, me?
Yeah, you, either of you. I was hoping to pitch some idea, doing jazz hands to Lucio, but if he's not here, maybe one of you want to get on the ground floor.
I mean, I'll listen, but I'm broke as fuck, dude.
Well, if only the main currency of our people wasn't different than money.
Well, I'm not in much position to do any laundry either. I'm good at gathering buzz.
Just depends on how squeamish are you.
A lot less than I thought I was.
Well, that's always that's always good to know. So, have you heard about the circulatory system?
You mean like biology?
Oh, well, also, but no, exactly. They are kind of some hoity-toity vampires that have very very specific kinks about the blood they drink, and as everything that gets commodified, well, there's a market for it. Unfortunately for the rest of us down here in the streets, only the 1% has access to it.
Okay.
Well, if we can supply the other 99%, even if it's much lower costs and a different product,
won't the 1% do what they always do and just stomp all over us?
Well, that's when your friend Lucio comes in. Since last time here, he has some friends some powerful friends in high places. Usually, you just have to kick back to someone, which I'm not opposed to, in principle.
So what you're proposing is that we go into business supplying blood, but this is, I mean, you got to clear out the corner you're going to sell it from first. So have you picked that area?
Oh, no. Sorry, young one, but we are in the 21st century. There are no corners no more. There are websites and WhatsApp chats, WhatsApp group chats, and it's more personal than that.
Well, I meant it more.
Call me and we.
I meant it more as a metaphorical, because you're like, this is like, you know, if you were, I don't know, slinging crack or something, you're still stepping into someone else's turf. Even if you're doing it in a different way, you're still.
It's a little concern, but nothing that we can handle. He winks.
I was kind of hoping we could at least have somebody in the city we weren't at war with.
Oh, no, this is different kind of war, you know? I know that the cockheads in the 80s were all in Sun Tzu and the art of war and all that shit. No. It's all the business. At worst, they they put you in torpor for a couple of years. Don't worry about it.
You ever had your fangs snapped?
No, sir.
Dizzy just nods.
Have you?
While this whole conversation is happening, there is a definite change in Hestia's features. At first, she's kind of like smirking and listening to it, but once he mentions circulatory system, her face just like closes down, and she's like, I fucking him from across the room. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, monopolies are never good.
You realize...
I mean, who's running this business now?
Oh, if only I knew.
I'm pretty sure I know who's running it right now, and we don't want to piss them off. We don't.
Right.
On top of that...
It's not...
To be fair, pissing them off is probably inevitable.
So it's like, let's say that you have a 5-star restaurant, right? That's the circulatory system. And then you have McDonald's. Would you be pissed if McDonald's opens a new spot near you? Very different people, very different food.
No, I get what you're going for, but I mean, maybe you could get it sanctions. You know, hey, we're gonna deal with the people who want ramen noodles, and you can stay with the guys that want a dude who's only attracted to other men in dresses who are named Steve and have mustaches.
Well, that's why I was hoping Lucio, where Lucio can fit in, but that's just the first part, you know, the silent partner, the ideas man. But I also need someone with some gumption to help me in the day-to-day.
I mean, to be honest, I was considering just taking a job stripping out by the airport for money, but this sounds more lucrative.
Oh, way more lucrative.
So in the middle of her trying to bitch Bill out, the headache hits, and she almost crumples to her to her knees again, and she's like, "Oh, incoming."
You also.
You're right.
Now her eyes are rolling back in her head.
From the morgue door.
I don't know how it works. It's uncanny, but she always knows when someone's coming.
The knock happens again. This time a little more incessant. Still as nearly a feat, but a little more pressing.
Dizzy will hop down and go get it.
Standing is the same medium brown-haired, clear Gallic French gentleman standing in a two-piece that is a wider checked pattern than you believe would be applicable, but it somehow works. The clothing still looks as neatly tailored. The shoes, though a different shade, as equally polished to a veneer. Oh, good evening.
Hey, I know you.
Oh, well, in that case, we don't need this. And as he speaks, the illusory image hovering over him, and he had become falls away, revealing that the suit is still as equally fitting and same styled, though he is nowhere near as small nor effete as they seeming initially be.
Did we let you in last time? I don't remember.
You did. I did not receive your name, however.
Cool. Well, I guess come on in and I will go fetch her.
Thank you very much, cool.
I'm just passing by, mister.
You weren't here last time.
Oh, no. I've been around.
I see. Moving across the floor towards you, he extends his hand. I am Monsieur Michael Dubiard. You are?
Oh, William. Let's call me Bill. Rises one eyebrow to DC to like, is it cool or what?
She kind of shrugs and bounces out of the room to go get Hestia.
So some fine soup you got there.
I thank you very much. Do you take his hand and shake?
Hestia stumbles in the room slightly behind Dizzy and kind of aims to knock Bill free from the handshake on purpose, but acting like it was an accident.
All right, that being the case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and somehow this week I've been exceptionally hoarse, but all the same, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and performance for me, please? How believable is your presentation of the stumble and brushing hands aside to make it seem completely and totally accidental?
Oh, little lady, watch out there. I kind of grab her. No, she's been feeling under the weather lately.
Oh, look at that. He is... Oh, are you okay, Mrs. Cree?
Haven't had a chance to reset the wards to not hurt me when people show up yet. Sorry.
I'm sorry. You inverted your wards to, instead of repel others, to repel you, even though you were usually inside your wards. That is interesting. I must know your secret, your reasoning behind such a thing. That is present company excluded, of course, completely and totally backwards. Why would you not merely repel those who would come to visit you versus take that pain upon yourself?
That's how we roll, dude.
She laughs at that.
Well, to ease your pain, I will wait outside. Because the Chantry has been all but beset by terrorist actions, we are meeting elsewhere. I thought to perhaps offer a ride. I'm sure you have the address for the auxiliary Chantry, the nearest auxiliary Chantry, but I thought I might give you accompaniment ride. I'll wait outside and we can speak there. And with that, as he steps closer to the door, the illusion he wore begins rematerializing.
That's some fancy tricks he has.
Waiting till I can't feel him anymore. And then as soon as that happens, she tries to straighten herself up and she looks at Bill. Look, you saw what he can do. Not that you should ever be rude, but when a Tremere offers you a handshake and you are not familiar with that Tremere, don't take the handshake or blank your mind if you possibly can, because they can pick up things from touching you. So if there's secrets
like
you don't
herpes.
want known, Yeah, you. Hey, wait a minute. Oh man, if I didn't hurt so much. Anyway, so he's here to escort us. We have to figure out what we're going to do with this whole trial thing. The thing is, they have blamed the fire on the person on trial, which is not you know who. And we want to hopefully keep it that way, because then that way we're not tied into it in any way, shape, or form. But the problem with that is, by knowing what we know, we are going to have to bury that under a whole bunch of other stuff, because even if you don't mean to and you're thinking about it, somebody might just like, oh, I wonder what that person's thinking about, and oh shit. So it's going to be worse for me, because I'm going to be the one actually asking them questions and trying to keep them off the trail. But because you guys are with me, they might just be like, oh, what's that person thinking about? Or that person looks interesting. I wonder what's going on in their head. And the next thing you know, they know what we know. So that's just fair warning.
Do I look like I know anything?
Hon, you know we know better.
I just got you, so whatever you think I know, I probably don't.
Good.
And for the record, Ms. Winifred Sciatano was, while a ranking member of the 7th rank of Tremere, was not particularly weak, but also was not particularly as strong as certain others, namely the ride offering Mr. Michael Dubiard, who has come to offer his services in escorting you all to the adjudication. Now, how much of the internal makeup of the Tremere is Hestia willing to share? Because much like many of the other more organized clans, there are organizational difference internally, different alignments in who they associate with or who they be willing to easily support, who they share similar thoughts, philosophies, and viewpoints with. How much of that is Hestia willing to share?
Basically what she's going to do, without giving too many in-depth details, hold on, I'll explain it. I guess that's Hestia. So she looks at them and she goes, look, I know it's probably been a while for a lot of us, but high school, remember high school?
I do.
Leader of the Chantryhouse is kind of like that really popular girl that everybody's kisses their ass and wants to be part of their group. That's Deuceable. He has the most power. He has the most sway. Beneath him are his little underlings and the hangers-on, of which reasonably powered, as well as that Sylvia was one of those. I'm sure you remember Sylvia didn't.
I just want to point out that bringing me is a bad idea.
Probably, but I don't know what else to do, and I kind of don't want to be there alone, because I don't want to.
I will try very hard to be on my best behavior.
I'm not
it's gonna be hard,
as much about you, though. Despite the craziness, I think you're the most normally behaved one out of all of us, which is really strange and crazy and scary, mind you. But yeah, so this person that's on trial is kind of like maybe they were in student newspaper, so you know of them. They're kind of shady sometimes, got a little bit of power because they can gossip about everybody, but they're not upper echelon, basically.
Well, I just follow your lead.
Okay, well, she grabs, hating to be cliche, she grabs a long black cloak out of the moored closet that she had put down here earlier in the night.
Okay. That's not that doesn't sound too auspicious at all. A hangman's cloak when attending a trial, an adjudication, a convocation of blood wizards. That sounds lovely. Now, while you all depart, while making sure that Dubiard is outside of the range, is there anything else you would like to share as you all exit the moored tunnel to arrive at his stretch SUV limousine?
So is there like a group that hangs out behind the gym and smokes? Because they were my peeps.
Yeah, those are pretty much the rest of the Chantry. They're the weirdos. Nobody really takes too much notice of them. They show up when they're supposed to, or when they absolutely have to. But other than that, they're nowhere to be found.
Sounds smart to me.
Well, they're smart, and then there's brilliance. Now, while from the outside, the Chantry is one singular operation. They are strong enough as far as politics go to remain in power without having a seat at the table. Unlike the incoming magisters who fought, clawed, and were willing to sacrifice to have a seat at the table, even if it's not the adults' table, the Chantry of Chicago has maintained their distance by staying mostly aware of the happenings without getting involved directly. It is a little early, but let me take care of something once more, folks. I will see you in 10 minutes.
All right.
And look at that, 10 minutes exactly. Everybody back?
I'm here.
Literally just got back.
Yep.
Excellent. Sorry about the early break, but hopefully everyone attended to their small things. When dispersing after that Mean Girls breakdown of the Chantry, were there any questions? Were there any forward options offered, knowing what you all are preparing to walk into?
No.
I feel like I'm forgetting something, and I hate the fact that out of character, I feel like I'm forgetting something. It's driving me crazy. Storyteller, you said looking at the arrows on the map, they're color-coded, but one of them's a little confusing for me, because I see where Michael Dubiard is springing from, but the arrow color means that they would be enemies. So, am I paying attention to that connection or the color of the arrow?
Well, in the real case of the whiteboard breakdown, the easiest, most direct way, instead of looking at their direct connections via the arrows, in this case, being as you all are heading to a gathering of these level of Tremere, of this level of the Chantry, the colors and ideologies matter more. So, for instance, someone as learned or involved with the Chantry, even though not completely inside of it, knowing where certain folks lean by color or association would definitively let you know which way that they're leaning as well. So their natural ideologies and philosophy.
Okay, because the thing I'm pointing out is Sylvia is above Michael, and Michael's arrow is connected to Sylvia, but the arrow between them is the enemy's arrow color, so either I'm reading it wrong or we just use the wrong shade for it. I don't know.
No, those that level of connection on the relationship map, if you look at the color, those are friendships, alliances, similarity of thought, and close association, positive associations. That magenta color there is denoting a positive relationship.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like maybe Mr. Dubiard is setting me up, but I'm gonna go along with that. Just protect myself. Well then, yeah, I think Hestia is gonna tell the other two. So while we're on our way out to the car, just so you know, Dubiard was under Sylvia, and I don't know if I can completely trust them. So just be very guarded with them.
I do.
Okay.
We also don't know what happened to Sunshine, by the way. We don't know what happened to Sunshine.
Who?
Exactly.
So as you all make it out to the stretch SUV limo with Dubiard in full illusion form standing outside, a soft lilting smile on his face, I do hope that my presence hasn't caused too much of a turmoil on the screen. And he opens the door into the back.
Well, I'm used to it.
You will have to tell me. And he offers his hand to help you step up into the limousine. Why such a decision was made to begin with? That's not a easy one for me to write with it. So,
Holy shit!
I remembered my gloves.
It is cool.
I feel like a movie star. This is awesome.
And he again offers as Hestia steps in to cool inside.
Hestia remembered her gloves, obviously, so it's part of the cloak. So she'll take his hand, but mostly like fingertips, and she's wearing her gloves.
And does Dizzy take Mr. Dubiard's assistance in climbing?
Probably, but she doesn't have gloves, but she's got, her thumbs sticking out holes in the sleeve of her hoodie, so, her hands are kind of covered, but not exactly all the way, so...
Excellent. And what is Dizzy's unrolled whole resolve?
Just resolve?
Yep.
It's 3 dots, but she also has unswayable mind if he's trying to do something.
Oh, no. He's not actively attempting anything. Just wanted to have a quick note of that for later. Strangely enough, as Bill follows along behind the ladies, Dubiard also offers his assistance.
So Bill just as politely as he can, just like not paying attention to him.
He smiles and climbs in, tapping on the glass partition between your area and the driver's seat, closing the door behind him. It is a short drive. I would normally have an aperitif for each of you. However, I'm not sure as to what your preferences are, and I would not seek to offend. If you all would like, we can stop along the way to ensure you have the opportunity to satiate yourself. Is there anywhere we should stop?
Dizzy is immediately checking out what's in the minibar and playing with the power windows.
You have never seen anything as pretentious as this in one location outside of the tourist trap that is Las Vegas or Salt Lake City. There's small bottles, which they usually don't make, of Armagnac, which in Louis XVI and various other extremely high-tier alcohol in the minibar. It's clearly untouched and clearly there to put forth the air of respectability and elitism. The Windows motor tuned to be unnoticeable. The fact that the moment you open the window, you can hear outside that it is completely closed. It is as if you are in a soundproofed room. The hand-stitched leather seats that are heated or cooled based on the controls near at hand on either side of the seat. The fact that both full bench seats can recline. There's a media center if you choose to fiddle with the remote and turn it on. It is designed to be the most ostentatious, overwhelming sign of elitism possible.
If there's a button, Dizzy is going to find out what it does.
We probably should at least have some sort of refreshment before we get there. She looks to Bill. Any particular place you might want to stop, or any idea where it would be good to stop?
Sure. Wherever there's a Arcali, I can manage.
Well, now, Bill, would you be so kind of go ahead and roll wits, streetwise, and any dots you have in either herd or contacts to arrange a beating heart for your associates and yourself?
Yeah, I also have Iron Gullet, so if there's like...
Meaning for you, unlike the standard average kindred of the line, a bag of blood, catenated or not, would be right up your alley. But having known that most kindred frown on such things, and being in such a sumptuous sign of excess as this limousine, would you offer blood bags to the kindred that are near at hand, or would you seek to offer something warmer?
No, wits, contacts, and what?
It is wits, streetwise, plus any dots you have in contacts, whichever is higher between the two. And how deep into your own pockets are you willing to reach to provide?
So, wits, streetwise, and contacts, alright.
Well, now.
Let me use one willpower. 2 dice, right? Alright, two successes.
Okay, nicely done. So, as close as you are to downtown, and as risky as it is in regards to revealing this heart of the established network of dealers you are plugged into, Janice is literally away as you all are going to merge onto the expressway. If you take Lakeshore down and hop on the 290, you can merge back onto Lake Street to get to Janice's location there at the Clark and Lake via the tunnels. Doing so, however, you know, is a small risk in revealing to maybe some who don't deal with such dealers. But being as Janice is the closest, with Itzhak not being that far off, and Itzhak being human, which would you prefer? The human dealer, which you have the opportunity of scaring, or Janice?
Oh, the human dealer.
Now, Itzhak is a good upstanding member of the Hasidic community. He is dyed in the wool, full-fledged. When looking at him, you immediately know which religion he practices. You immediately know which network of social association he is into. But because of his willingness to obtain means of supporting himself by whatever means, he has become a relative well-known amongst the kindred as someone provide. And while his supply isn't necessarily of the top tier, he is completely and totally respectable. He keeps everything business-like and as straightforward as possible. So you provide directions for Dubiard and his driver to take you all into Rogers Park West before getting on the expressway. Rogers Park West is a enclave of the Hasidic community. It is also, much like the area immediately around the Haven, virtually crime-free. This community and their areas are typically left to socially police themselves, so there's not many issues or many happenstances that happen. And how does Bill describe Itzhak to the others?
Describes what, sorry?
Itzhak, the dealer, the human dealer.
Oh, okay. We can pay a visit to an old friend. I think he can take care of me.
So arriving at a community center, a gentleman dressed in the black fedora and dark looking homespun clothing, but you can tell that it is not in fact homespun, with some care, but is off of someone else's rack. He exits the community center. Bill, my friend, how are you? And you all realize that Itzhak is missing a finger on his right hand.
Do I have to roll composure?
Yes.
I will lean over to Hestia and whisper, "He doesn't look very tasty."
Okay, just composure, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a bit hectic these last couple of days, but I can't complain, I think.
No, complaining will not get us anywhere. But you normally like a certain vintage. Is that what you're here for today, Bill?
Well, I'm just looking for...
And as Itzhak and Bill, you and Itzhak are talking and arranging the such thing. We'll say not completely on it, because I do have a small shelf life and the body helps make it more palatable. However, in doing so, you both stop talking and look at Hestia as a snigger bout of composure settles across her face. She snaps it back up and keeps it to herself almost immediately, but there is no denying what just happened. Is everything okay with you, ma'am?
Wait, which one asked me that? Because if it's him, I'm...
Itzhak.
Yeah! Fine. I'm fine, sorry. I'm just getting over a headache.
Dubiar looks from you to Itzhak and... Yes. Are you taking an order? I normally don't. But in the air of camaraderie, just sample. What do you have? I am a fan of something lively, something with a passion to it. Bill, you know Itzhak deals with medical grade off the line, so it's not something that's been scared to death or sexed to death or made to spend their last moments in absolute happiness. It's blood that has been donated and it was earmarked for one hospital or another. So it is A plus O and the like. Dubiar asking for something so top line, me to let you know that Itzhak would not be able to provide.
I look at them and tell them he has good stock here, so if you want to partake, I can vouch for him.
Itzhak frowns. Is he serious? But anyway, Bill, are you taking a consignment or are you going to be paying today? And how much?
No. Just 2 for me. Thank you.
Okay. And consignments, of course, or would you be paying today?
Let me just check one thing. No, I have resources once. Oh no! If you give it in consignment, I will. I'm good for it in the next week or so.
Okay. I'm actually pretty flush at the moment. I'm happy what's been working out. Give me a moment. Meet me in the parking lot. And he motions to the left of the building, and he heads back inside the community center.
Hestia is looking at anything but where he just went.
I suppose if no one else is going to ask, I perhaps should, DBR says. Do you know this gentleman? Is there something that we should be aware of?
Sorry. You've met Lucio.
The gentleman with the gun last... Yeah.
Well, Lucio has a friend, and that friend works with Mr. What did you say his name was, Bill? That guy.
Out of character.
Itzhak.
Yeah, Mr. Itzhak. They're friends, and this person works. Mr. Itzhak works for Lucio's friend that gets him really nice blood. And one time, we had a really, really bad night, and he got some people to come over, and Mr. Itzhak was part of the people that brought those people to the Haven. And then it was kind of a weird night, sorry.
See, this is what I was talking about. Everywhere is someone's corner.
No. You're not thinking low enough.
Am I missing something? And Itzhak is there. Quick tap on the side of the window.
It's just my friend here. She's interested in knowing how is it that we can drink it cold instead of warm from the tap, you know?
I see. Doesn't seem very appetizing, but I wish you luck. And if that is all that ever... And Itzhak drops the bags inside and gives a quick nod and heads back inside the community center. The exchange overall literally only adds roughly about 15 minutes to your travel time. In that quick travel time, as you all head back over Morris and hop on Sheridan and move on to Lakeshore Drive, you realize that you are not stopping in Hyde Park. You're not hopping off Lakeshore Drive and taking Lakeshore Drive to Hyde Park, down and around as you all expected. But the auxiliary temple is actually in Riverdale. It is firmly in the Anarch territory, the Republic of Riverdale. It is below the line as far as Chicago is concerned. And this auxiliary temple, this auxiliary Chantryhouse, is well in the burbs of the city, meaning that it, no matter how much anyone would like to offer otherwise, is not in fact an Elysium. It is not in fact under the purview of the Tower of Chicago. Riverdale officially is nothing. It's no man's land. It is the wilderness, even though the Anarchs have claimed it themselves as the Republic of Riverdale, as far as the standard scuttlebutt is concerned. And without the assurity of because the laws dictate that even on the way to Elysium, a person is to be unaccosted and has the promise of safety. And leaving Elysium, a person has a promise of safety, meaning that there's a protection there. There's a safety there. The sheer out on the limb factor ratchets up roughly to the 10th power, knowing that officially a sanctioned Elysium, knowing that you are in the wilds of the city. Literally, what you can protect and what you can assure is your safety. The temple itself is an old Masonic lodge has clearly been decommissioned and not of any service. However, the Masonic charter that held this place, for those of you skilled with occult history, know that the charter was dissolved due to them immolating themselves during a high. Both the members of the Masonic Lodge and their sisters, Eastern Star, they lit themselves aflame and nearly burned not only the building but the neighborhood surrounding down. The building somehow, after the fire was put out, still remained intact, while buildings nearest it, as the vacant lots attest, burned severely. And while stone is a good structure to build with, fire is fire. Those things creates gaps and openings, yet the building had been left standing and seemingly, according to legend, untouched. We are, folks. It wasn't too long of a drive, was it?
Have I been to this Chantryhouse before?
You know that it exists, but Riverdale is kind of ache factor. It's like living in New York all your life and being forced to go to Jersey.
Gotcha.
Hopefully the drive wasn't too much for you all. And he moves towards it as the driver opens it for him, and he steps out. Again, offering assistance to help anyone step down.
As we get down, I'm going to do sense the unseen because I want to see if they have the same sort of warding as I'm used to at the previous chantry.
Okay, would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your wits, awareness, and auspics? Dizzy, Bill, anything that you all are attempting or doing in the offing?
I'll just hop out of the SUV unassisted and put my earbuds in.
I can just... no, I'm alright.
Hestia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your composure and occult, please? Okay. It is everything you can do to not run screaming from this place. You living in a near haunted haven, you being in the centrifugal spiritual forces and strength of living at a Dragon Road, a ley line nexus, has not prepared you for this. This is not a place of life. Not life persisting or persevering. This is not a place where the spirits of the departed are drawn by the energies of the living. This is a place of death. This is a place where things come to end. This place is awash in the blood of hundreds. This place is where things end. It is the antithesis to what a ley line nexus is, where a ley line nexus pulls and works with the ebb and flow of the magical spiritual processing and like lakes and rivers where they have a natural flow. This is the antithesis of this. This is a man-made hole into the Shadowlands. This place is devoid of any essence of life, either this side of the veil or the other. It is a magnet of death that it has ever been imagined in one back minimum of the century. It is a weight and looking into the other side, you see that it is mirrored, washed in blood and flame. Those same black, darkly glowing flames that lit the tree once Dizzy shot it in this world exist in this place. You are walking into a pyre.
Eyes go saucer sized, and the normal kind of glide or sway that she would have, just like it's like she hits a brick wall and stops and swallows the scream that's working its way to the top and starts looking back towards the limo like, I want to go back. but she knows that if she does this right now, if she runs, everything's forfeit. She is making a line in the sand.
That and so much more. You know that this is, unlike most places, unlike voting, well, the common modern philosophy of voting doesn't matter. This is a real civil responsibility of having been chosen as an adjudicator. You know that if you flee now, you are not just shirking your own intestinal fortitude and showing your lack of bravery when walking into hell, but you'll definitely significantly disrespect.
She drops sentient scene because it's bad enough knowing it's there, but I don't want to keep having to see it. So as soon as I see that and I get that full force, I'm dropping it so that I can try to pull my calm back into the forefront and keep walking.
Are you all right? This isn't your first visit to Golgotha, is it? It's what we call this place. Actually,
she just nods. Yes, that it is. She doesn't speak because the voice is gone.
No, I completely understand it. An awesome example as to what we might, how we might change the world to suit our end if properly aligned and working together. You do know the story of this place, don't you? And he says this to the, because as you all entered, it's surprisingly well pointed, the waxed and taken care of. Doors, well, there's no squeak or creak. The stone colonnades throughout kept in proper form, sandblasted and cleared fairly regularly. The annoying scent of burning timber, however, the scent and stench of cordite, is another matter entirely. It's faint and barely of note, but it mixes with the scent of wax and burning incense.
Sidling close to Dizzy as she can, and as lowly as she can to not be overheard. This place is death incarnate. It is devoid of everything save death. We are so going to need to be careful.
So I ask again, are you sure you want me here?
Well, you're here now, but I would not subject you to what's to come. She looks to Dubiard. Now that I think of it, it's kind of strange to have an outsider or outsiders present during this, isn't it? Maybe they should wait in the limo or nearby.
Well, they are part of your retinue at this point. Once they've crossed, they can't leave without you. And he motions back toward the door, which you all didn't notice because the wards aren't built that way. But there are sigils, small carvings along the floor. They look like part of the tile work and part of the trim and sash of the door. But there definitely is, for those of you who've been around or involved in any blood magic and rituals, know that there is something else there. But if you like it, you can back across, he says with a smirk.
So clever. You know what? I'm here to do a duty and I'm going to do it. So, lead on. And she is going to use that smile and everything she feels about this person and what she's thinking they're up to make herself a shield against what she's thinking and all of this fear that's going on right now.
Bill.
He's fascinated about the situation because the Trevere are not supposed to be disorganized at this point in time, and he's kind of taking notes in his mind. How many, where we are, that kind of stuff.
Okay. I can just note here. And of course, it chooses to go slowly, so we're going to ignore that. So as you all make your way further in, the building itself opens up. It's a circular hall. In regards to the path that you take, you guys head left, which is clockwise as you enter. And as the hall curves out and around, you realize that in the center of the building has been placed a court. As you all look through the windows out into the courtyard, you unfortunately in this day and age realize what that actually is, but having been to welcoming of the Magisters into Camarilla, you very much realize that that is a pyre. That very much is the state to which witches have been, and that very much is a more naturalistic version of oven. You know what you've done with oven at the Haven.
Well, I guess they always die hard.
So a few paces further on, you enter into a large welcome area, and across the area on the far side is a slightly raised stage. 2 steps up, there's a bankhead table with chairs affixed on the opposite side of it. In the space in between, there are a few old theater chairs lined in what looks to be, from this angle because you're slightly raised, a half circle around a center chair. That chair is high backed but could easily be affixed with manacles, chains, or some other restraints, and it's clear they've been used for just that purpose. Sitting in the chair is Wilfred Sciatano, medium length dark hair, lank and limp than be expected on a kindred. Because after all, you don't need makeup, you don't need such things. You are upon death at the pinnacle of what you are typically. So that same care, the same vitality you wear for the rest of your days. It is clear that Miss Sciatano has not been treated best care. She's a little pale, a little wan, not to the point where she looks completely corpse-like. She looks like she's been on a bender of sorts. In other words, her and Hestia are similar bent as far as being tired, being less than their normal selves. And while Hestia has been self-inflicted, they're based on the fact that her arms, hands, and legs are restrained to the chair by thick leather bands that her self. Well, I suppose we're here. Everyone else is gathering their seats. I'll leave you to find your yard. Bow slightly, moves into the base. You see various other faces moving and milling about, gathering in clumps of 2 and 3 here and there across the floor. Then he nods at some, handshakes others, and claps one gentleman back as he moves past him towards the slightly raised stage. In these few moments of being in this Pyrrhic hell, is there anything that you all discuss?
Well, these people sure go medieval.
Do you think the opening band will be any good, or should we just hang out at the bar?
Don't ever change, please, Dizzy. Don't ever change. She leans in as close as she dare, while still kind of watching Dubiard's path and who he greets, making notes, and slips Dizzy one of the, not her special blade. She never. That never leaves her person. But another of the blades that she normally keeps tucked up her sleeve as a just in case. And I know Dizzy typically normally has a gun, but I don't know whether she has it on her tonight, so that's why I'm giving her this backup.
Okay.
Granted,
She'll just slip it into a pocket.
Very low. Granted, if you need to use it, you're probably already fucked, but it's better than nothing. I'll do my best to make sure that it doesn't go down like that anyway. I do have
One should never underestimate the power of a well-placed word.
He'll just smile a crooked smile.
Now, if you will make yourselves as comfortable as you can and out of the way as you can, I have to take my seat.
It doesn't take much longer for everyone to get settled and watching the happenstance and hearing. There's a thrum, like as if this is the as if this is a stadium just before the national anthem is played. There's a thrum of excitement, partially due to the very real null space all about you and Bill Dizzy, but it is hard to not see the excitement, the potential promise of blood that has members of the Chantry excited. And as you take in seating, there's a few nods here and there. You take in just the feel of the place, but exactly wholesome, this excitement, this thirst behind this real thrumming of it all. And Bill, with your heightened as a passive action, would you be so kind of go ahead with an awareness for me?
Yep. One success.
Okay. You don't hear the soft clack of the heels until they're right on. Dizzy, you hear or more feel the approaching of someone because your headphones and you watching you for an opening for a potential escape and making sure you are as well appointed as possible. But as you and Bill stand there at the edge of the crowd, just out of sight, at the back of the gathering, watching as the almost giddy bouncing in the seat of some takes place, you hear a middle tenor's voice. This is quite showing, isn't it? She said.
Well, apparently, didn't know that the whole gang was out and about tonight.
I wouldn't miss this if I could any choice at all. I could be anywhere in the world, but I would much rather be here. This should be a good showing. Do you know what she did?
No idea, lady.
Yeah, I don't know either, but it's like Diamond Dog Night at Dodger Stadium in here.
Oh, this usually doesn't happen. Most times, small matters can be handled one to the next. But this is a big thing. Shiatano, from what I understand, had the unmitigated gall to challenge the patriarchy.
Well, and
that's
has the feeling of the night at Disco Dive, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and especially after that fire that damaged the primary chantry. It would take months for necessary security back into. It took a lot of effort to arrange those. Part of the design team. Who are you all here with?
Looking at Dizzy.
We just kind of wandered in because it was warm.
I see. You got the humor. No, but seriously, we know that's not a possibility. What rank are you, neophytes?
I don't know. Corporal sounds good.
Really? So whose security team are you? So I can help you get to a seat. Many of us won't take very kindly to unaccompanied guests.
A seat near the door or a window.
Well, I mean, technically, we're accompanying each other.
I see.
Have I noticed who they're talking to yet?
Mm-hmm. You can look out across the day and across the crowd and see them back of in near the doorway, speaking.
All I know is I came here with my friend in a really cool SUV limo that had seats that you could control the temperature on.
Oh, well, if you were with a Dubiard, why didn't you say so? If you will, and she motions with her hand to her left, that side of the aisle is for guests of Dubiard, a security team. Don't see Alphonse stuck with the cars out as usual, I see.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
Your driver, your man's driver. Been with him for years. Surprised the name hasn't traded amongst you all. Oh well, you humans are so to one another. It's to be expected. With that, she click-clacks past you and takes a seat just ahead of where you guys are standing at the rearmost portion of gathered Chantry members, and folds herself in on itself, one leg over the other, hands clasped in lap.
Out of character, would Clyde know Annabelle? Sorry, Bill, no Annabelle?
Annabelle, yes, you know who Annabelle is. You know the general hierarchy of Toreador. You guys are a little more free-flowing with rises above the other.
And does he have an idea about the machinations of her, or is just like a passing acquaintance?
Passing acquaintance. Bill hasn't risen high enough in social hierarchy of degenerates to be a mover and a shaker just yet. Though being a provider of vitae or blood would definitely be a feather in his cap, especially being as well. It's nearly.
Okay, just because this probably will be of interest to her, but Bill doesn't know that, so no problem.
So, as Dusable waits, everyone is gathered, and some of the ancient energy settles down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that you all are here. We have a matter to settle, and he looks to Aristo, who began speaking. Members of the Chantry, this member is accused of reaching the station and assaulting the body politic of the Chantry with all due intent to cause harm. It has been pressed by Regent Rich of our Dalton Protectorate and Dalton Chantry that Miss Ciotano should be deceased. That her actions constitute a grave and present danger to the lot of us. That if she is willing to flout our rules, if she is willing to flout the safety of us all, that she will be willing to do far worse if given the opportunity to rise. So while Regent Rich proposes death, I would like to offer a potential counter judgment. Banishment. A complete isolation from us all, and allowed to continue the rest of their forever as an outsider, the knowledge stripped from. Though, this, in my opinion, is very fair. Miss Green, what is your suggestion for such a heinous crime?
Banishment seems too kind, but death seems too harsh. Perhaps there is something in the middle.
And your suggestion for what that might?
That she be staked and lay in torpor a year for every day it takes to rebuild the Chantryhouse.
Very well. Those are the three options to consider. Miss Giotano, as the accused, as the offender, is there anything you would like to say for yourself? Is there any amongst us who would have a question? First off, fuck you all. It is not the first time that one of us has engaged in combat. It's not the first time one of us has lashed out. It's many of us have been threatened, and no one was truly harmed. What I learned and what I master is no one's concern so long as I pyramid. And there's no one amongst you who say that I have ever isolated myself from the pyramid. There's no one amongst you who can say that I have ever forsaken my responsibilities as a member of the Chantry. There is no one amongst you who can say that I have put my own interests above, made more important than pyramid. This is a fucking joke. There's a
Pretty sure she's taking a dig at me, but I am not gonna let it get to me, and I am actually paying slightly more attention to the fact that Sylvia popped up out of nowhere and should not be here.
There's a ooh and an ah that murmurs amongst those not on the at the adjudicating table. There's a ooh ah amongst the crowd gathered, because for the most part she just literally power, and that's the message that resounds. Members of the clan, especially as the Chantry is very stingy with its knowledge, there are a lot of tests that must be passed to rise one rank to the next. There's a lot of wait, you're not ready for that yet. Wait, you haven't proven yourself for that yet. Wait. There's a reason why we go as slow as we do, and that's frustrating to a lot of people. Dizzy, you realize that you are not a person with something that is not complete supernatural. It's akin to with the armaments that you have glimpsed, you applied, you sit at the back of the gathering. It is akin, very much so, to sneaking a plastic gun, a completely polycarbonate, from the firing pin all the way to the casing gun into a passive metal detector. While prepared for supernatural interactions, the Chantry isn't when it comes to standard weapons as a whole, and especially not in what is equivalent to a death row case, a death penalty case.
Yeah, I guess you're waiting for me here. I guess I just keep watching, and the earbuds are in, but there's no music actually playing. It's just kind of a facade. The opening salvo of profanity caught her attention, so.
Okay. Bill, would you be so kind as to go ahead and wits and streetwise for me, please? I love streetwise. Don't you love streetwise? It's such an all-purpose when dealing with the criminal sort.
Right. 5, I think. 4. One success.
Yes, one success. Not nearly enough. But of the degenerates, having lived at as long as you have been in many gatherings, you've been in many cases where things have been tried, you've been in many serious situations, and there's probably shouldn't speak as if they are in fact less acute.
His palm into his throat and then does a slashing.
So as you all see, and the show continues, that's what it is. It's clear that a decision is made for that person's guilt, considering they didn't say alleged. There's no hint that they may not have done what they're accused of, and it seems more damaging that they used or did whatever they are accused of than the fact that them actually pulling it off. The fact that they knew how to do so is more damning than anything else. She all but spits. So fucking ask your question.
I'm kind of tempted to shoot a hole out of here and Thelma and Louise our way into the fucking sunset, dude.
I'm guessing if you're gonna go, unless you're falling down this way.
And then Dubiard speaks. Mademoiselle Giordano, you are saying that your crimes are no worse than any others? Is this the case? Fucking right. And Miss Green, you suggest that for such a serious crime, where the ending of Miss Giordano is in fact a very possibility, that instead perhaps we might temper the harshness of our judgments with a time out, 1 day in Torch.
No, I said 1 year in exchange for 1 day. So each day that it takes to rebuild the Chantry, they spend a year in, as you would call it, timeout. The reason I am putting forth temperance is because I believe Jusabo has wanted us to work together for all this time, and weakening us by even one member, even though that member might be misguided in how they wish to obtain power, would weaken us considerably. So, by offering that in between of them being killed outright, while the crime was harsh, it would save us a member, and maybe they could be taught or rehabilitated or made see the error of their ways after such a long nap.
I see. And I'm taking it that, and forgive me, I know that you're a person that needs to be adjudicated here, but your ideology, your ideas are so kind. It is a very novel, and I would love to know how you think. For instance, if Miss Giordano had not taken something as important as our primary chantry from us, how long do you think that we should, perhaps, if she, let's say, accosted 1 minute? We are not here to discuss Miss Green's ideas on leniency. We have a choice to make, and if no one else has a question, I believe that we should perhaps pronounce judgment, because we know that Miss Giordano assaulted the bulk of the chantry. We know that her allies and associates assaulted the chantry itself, fire, resulting in quite a few lives and quite a few near masquerade breaching actions taken to protect as much of the chantry as we could. And with that, I believe we should consider those actions more so than less. That's fucking bullshit. I done said shit on fire. I don't have any friends, and I wasn't able to contact my resources. So if you guys are gonna trump up something, make it decent. Or better yet, one of you motherfuckers come down here and fight me person to person, and we'll see whether God decides I've done wrong.
Trial by combat. They are medieval.
Yeah, where are we? Thunderdome?
Miss Giordano, don't waste our fuck. Are you seriously considering challenging members of a higher step to assertment? Is that your end goal? To die by one's hand? To go out in the blaze of glory and say that at least as a final act of defiance you turned us on ourselves? Because I'm sure each of us would itch for the opportunity to put you more firmly in your place, to keep you around, to polish our boots with your tongue. However, this is about heritage, pride in being the elite, pride in being the chantry. So, for all of your gall I suggest we kill you. Place your seat the 7th rank up, immediate promotion of another. So, there you have it. My vote is death. Erichton. I am leaning towards Miss Green's leniency. So, Torp. That's the next highest.
Is that on me?
Yes. No, she's not the next highest. And Sylvia stands up back. There's a silence that falls over. And would Dizzy, Bill, Hestia, would you go all wits and performance? Or wits and subterfuge, whichever is higher?
Bestial failure.
Yeah, that's not necessarily great. Alright, so we'll start lowest to highest and share information. Bill, they're fucking faking. They are here to wreck shop and take names. There are many names to take except for and Dizzy, who are not regular this shit show that is the pyramid. They are here to stage an all-out assault, and you definitely be sacrificial lambs. What would you do with that information?
Probably say something in the vein that. Okay, let me get out of my own head. I don't think that I say it loud enough to be heard, but not loud enough to disrupt the entire thing. They are even worse than Jackson.
Okay. Hearing that, as you all stand over the crowd, as that inhalation of silence happens and everyone goes relatively still, Hestia, you know that it is fake. You know that they are faking. There's something more planned. You know that this moment was either scried, otherwise glimpsed of the future, perhaps a prediction that they had, and they're following the steps of it to ensure an outcome they want. But yeah, they are most definitely faking. And as the recognized second rank from Agent, Aristo and Sylvia have the same level of respect inherent and due. In other words, it's one of those situations which comes first. The art museum. Is it art simply because it's in the art museum, or the art goes to the museum? And so, having two pillars of the pantry present, Hestia's place, even though Aristo said that she's up next highest rank, what places her above Dubiard and Gordon and Dravsny. Now there's a lot of question. If Aristo can be wrong about that, she can be wrong about other weakening her position. And with plans already in play, what is it that Hestia is deciding to do?
I look towards Erecto because Erecto knows what I told them that day in the office about what Sylvia has done. And whether they were an active member of the Chantry or not, there are some things that just can't be let go. So while this person is on trial for stuff that they've done, Sylvia should be right there along with them for the stuff that she's done. And we can't let her take over this proceeding. So I'm looking at Erecto as to say, I will back your play if you back mine. We can't let her take this over.
So as Aristo attempts to cipher out what the look means, is it a what the fuck? Is it what's going on? She's not entirely sure. So Dizzy, this has not only has been planned, this has almost been scripted. And the weaponry that you've witnessed, you know will be coming to use fairly instantaneously within the next few moments at the bare minimum. The silence is to cover, mistakenly, the sight sliding of things out of holsters and sheaths. The preparation of leaning forward in their chairs so that they can spring and leap into action. You have been in clusterfucks before. This is definitively someone's designed clusterfuck.
Dizzy pulls out her phone and looks at it and very quietly says to Bill, "In a second, when this shit goes down, grab Hestia."
Okay.
Alright, so in order of awareness, as the second rank, and having been accosted and maligned and lied upon by members of this august body, an unjust law is no law at all. So I say those of you who are here, who have been stepped on, pushed down, made small, lied, or held accountable, stand now. Don't allow this travesty to go on. Gustavo stands, holding his cane suspiciously like a sword sheath. This is not the time for debate. This is time for judgment. So what is your judgment, Sylvia? I say that all the guilty parties who have accosted, who have assaulted, who have betrayed, who have lied on, who have sought to stand in the way of, should be, as Ms. Green so charitably put forward, offered a kindness, offered a leniency. That kindness, that leniency is a swift death. And she raises her hands. And those of you who have the ability, who have a cult, would you be so kind as to wits and occult? Those of you without, would you be so kind as to wits and awareness?
Was she looking at me while she was talking, or was she looking at Deuceable?
She was looking at you all. She was scanning the Adjudicator's table.
Okay, 'cause while she was talking,
Tonight.
I'm pretty sure I would have been ready for what she was about to do.
And if awareness is a better pool, can I roll that?
Yes. Hestia, what's your roll? You feel, and that's the troubling part about being in a place that is the absence of life. You feel the flow, the ebb, the swaying and cresting of the waves of the spiritual. That shouldn't be happening in such a place as this. It is almost as if someone has erased the invisible words about the place, as if someone has opened the floodgates, and we know that nature abhors a vacuum, and the same goes for the supernatural. Dizzy, the hairs on the back of your neck immediately stand on end as a thrumming sense of power vibrates through you. Bill, this is a setup. This is a trap. They have you in a dead-end canyon. What is it that you're doing now? The monstrous defensive action. It is life, liberty, and pursuit of continued living that runs through you. This is a trap. You are Mon Calamari screaming into the screens of hear you. What is the most mindless, beast-like action you would take to defend yourself and your potential business partners?
Bill is probably the kind of guy that shoots first and asks for forgiveness later. I think with the two consecutive bestial failures, he's just waiting for the penny to drop, and then he will shoot somebody and try to get Hestia out of there immediately, not asking any more questions.
All right, roll dexterity and firearms as you rush towards the adjudicator's table where Hestia is. And while that's happening, Hestia, you see Bill immediately leap into action. What is it that you're doing?
I am realizing what she's about to do. I'm going to do to her what she tried to do to me at the Haven.
Bill, you're wrong.
What do I roll?
Shooting from the hip, dexterity and firearms.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna start shooting right now. All right. In that case, let me bounce my dexterity. Tonight is not my night for rolling. Yeah. All right, hunger by 1. So that's okay. All right.
Well, now that as if you were born to that sort of thing. All right. So, Hess, do you have Cauldron of Blood? By the way.
I have Ball's Caress. I didn't take Cauldron of Blood, but I do have Extinguished Vitae.
Excellent. Go ahead. Excuse me. I'm going to attempt to cause her blood to boil upon itself, which we still kind of go ahead and make that happen. Dizzy, as shit is meeting Fan most intimately, are you sitting with headphones in and just watching?
I need to know a couple things. Is anyone else making a move, and where is the nearest exit?
The nearest exit is roughly 45 feet to your right, exactly from where you and Bill are sitting. Bill is moving forward towards the adjudicator's table. There are a hustle and bustle, a hullabaloo, a pell-mell and a censure between you and the seats just ahead of you as they're knocked back as people rise to their feet, and the adjudicator's table erupts in a supernatural, mystical
All right. Assuming that Bill is going to grab Hestia and get her out of here, I am going to move towards the exit. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to use celerity, but I'm going to start heading that way. Keeping my head on a swivel and trying to keep anybody from getting behind me while I do it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll dexterity in that flat. Alright, so Bill, you are a natural when it comes to dealing death, and that's literally what you're handing out if they were alive to begin with. The path in front of you between where you are and where you need to be at Hestia's side to the situation becomes a fountain of and a slip and slide made out of the innards of the tremere between you and Hestia. As Hestia is focused, line of sight, targeting and making a careful somatic hand sign and subtly moving it, she draws forth a bit of Sylvia's very potent vitae. While the Tremere, the other members of the Chantry around you, engage in all-out mystical warfare as if they have a fire that has been lit, as if the gas keg that was waiting to explode and finally burst critical mass. Usable, wielding his cane, draws the hidden blade. It's not a blade, but a wooden stake, and begins wading forth from the adjudicator's table. This is not how we comport ourselves. And one target between him and Shiotano, it seems as if that is where he's headed. While Aristo is between Hestia and Sylvia, realizing what is happening, and begins speaking under her breath. It is clear that whatever she is planning, whatever she's attempting, will require a little focus. However, Dubiard is not such an individual. He is not engaged or otherwise occupied. So, Hestia, would you be so kind as to go ahead and stamina plus composure? -1 because you're up. Okay. So, there was a show. There have been several shows. There was one, Matthew Powers or some such, where he was this space alien with magical powers, and the people out to kill him, and they used martial arts, and the guy from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was in it, and you and your family watched it with all due regularity. There was a scene where there was just this massive combat taking all sorts of alien powers at each other, and there was martial arts mixed in. That's what you are calling a Hogwarts battle, where there are real, actual stakes. There's no Expelliarmus or any blast of mystical light. There instead are killing birds that are named Smith and Wesson, worshipped by various knife makers across the country. And in this pell-mell, in this scrum, making your way toward the door, you are unfortunately the unenviable victim of some less than random assault. The idea is to take down anyone with us. If you are not with us, you are against us. It is very much the Sith versus the Sith. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and for stamina and sure. Well, unfortunately, 2 is not enough. Hestia, you and Dizzy's hunger increases by 1 instantaneously. The wave of energy that hits you lets you know that it's not nearly as high for whatever it was that Sylvia was able to conjure up, or whatever it was that Shiatana was accused of, but it is definitely you are the victim of someone else's attention.
Not too bad, because that's why they ate before she came. So, do I realize who's aiming for me?
Only if you stop focusing on Sylvia.
I don't know if I keep having. I didn't know if I had to keep focusing on her, because it's supposedly once it happens, it happens.
So are you changing target of your attention? Because it's one of those things where would say you're literally watching the person as you're draining and continuing to reach their home. Their blood is being set aflame within them.
Yeah, because once it starts working, though, I still have to keep focusing on her, or
yes, unless of course you're moving to a different target. Unless of course you're two. Are you only going to attempt it once, or onto something else, or?
Well, once I realize somebody's attacking me, I can't keep focusing on Sylvia, obviously, right? So I'd rather take care of the person attacking me.
Okay. So you're gonna free Sylvia up?
No, I'm gonna hope that somebody has my back, because I can't let her get away this time. I should have killed her last time and I didn't, so I am going to focus on managing on Sylvia and getting her ass to drop.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Dizzy being hit with the invisible burning sensation of your beast being called forth. Is there anything you're doing besides running toward the door? Quietly, slowly, move, all due caution and no haste.
Possibly. What are Bill and Hestia doing? Are they attempting to escape, or are they attempting to stand and fight?
Bill is fighting his way towards Hestia. He is blasting through people and that are between him and Hestia. Unfortunately, that's a quick process.
I'm gonna go ahead now and crouch down low and make a sort of half sprint for the door. I will stop when I get there, however, if I get there and can keep going.
All right, sounds like a plan. You were unfortunately just 2 successes away. 4 successes, been at the edge of the completely out of sight of some. So you need 2 successes on your sprint. While that is happening, go ahead. Bill, you are the monster in this situation. You have enemies in front of you standing between your target. Are you going to continue them down with all due lack of consideration, or are you going to try a different tactic?
Approximately how many?
5-6 feet. You basically made it halfway.
And are there clear sights, or they are
Of you
just...
of you blasting people out of your way? Yes. There are some members of the Chantry who, well, for lack of better terms, aren't as skilled and believe they are and engage in actual punching, kicking, scratching, gouging, slap fighting for their beliefs.
Am I on high ground, or are we all at the same level?
You all are at the same level. Hestia slightly the Adjudicator's table.
And can I see who she's focusing on?
Yeah, the blonde that you spoke to at the doorway, which is behind you.
Alright, let's try to see if we can expedite this. I'm gonna use honorary name, shot to the head to the blonde.
Alright, call shot, take away 2 die, make it happen.
Again? Come on. The dice gods are mad with me today. So he takes aim and puts.
So you're gonna take aim. You're gonna take aim in the middle of the scrum, being shooting from the hip with your dexterity. Go ahead.
No. Composure firearms. I think it is when you take aim, right?
Yes, you're resisting all the signs and stress around you to focus in and lock in on what you're doing. Go ahead and take away 2 die and roll that call shot.
Alright, in that case, let me rouse my composure. Yep, that's kind of neat. Alright, conquer 4 just for you to know.
Yeah, you need to stop right there and roll your resolve plus composure.
Alright. Great successes.
You are a very cursedly lucky gentleman, because at this point, for hunger with your beast so close to the surface that you could taste what it had for lunch, and the blood spray and vitae all about you, it is definitely doing a little bit more than just clawing the inside. It's attempting to rip a hole through the center of you.
Do I still roll?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, come on. I'm gonna reroll 3 dice.
Did you take away your 2 die for call shot?
Yes, my pool should be 7. Since I rouse, it's back to 9.
Excellent. Make it happen.
Well, 4 successes.
Alright. Hestia, would you be so kind as to go ahead? Your next attack.
One more time. Be right back.
What is it you're attempting to do? You're going to continue to extinguish her attack?
Would I know how well it worked last time? Or do I have an idea of how well it worked last time?
Depending on strength, it takes 1 or more who can control of themselves. And you know that Sylvia's decently strong. So you
Yeah,
can guess
I'm gonna
how
keep
well
pressing.
While Bill is shooting, he yells, "It's rain, we need to go."
Okay. So, in the scrum and the pell-mell of all things happened at once, you yelled at, "Oh no, we have to go," as your shot flies from your mid-caliber firearm. You expect to see the very lovely pink mist of it embedding itself in your target. The blonde looks in your direction, bullet melting as it nears her person, as above her, faintly shimmering in the air, hot pink scent in sight of Vitae burning. Her calm blue eyes that you looked into at the doorway are suddenly lit from within. And as you hear a scream from your left where Shiatana was sitting, Dusabo embedding his stake her in the chair that she is sitting, you can hear the imaginary action ratcheting 10. And with this taking place, the intensity of everything that is increasing, I believe you all escaping temple of someone's doom. That is the Golgotha Chantry of the sky. Is unfortunate not being better at managing our time. I'm playing, and I will see you all. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Wait, so do we get out or we just pause?
We're just pausing. It is definitely a cliffhanger.
All right.
Bill's firearm shell explodes in a sheen of metal as it meets an invisible barrier around Sylvia. As Hestia is experiencing an immediate sense, much like you, Dizzy, of beasts growing closer to the surface as home raises, and all hell literally breaking loose as the various factions of the Chantry have decided that this is the night, this is the time, this is when everything is laid out and everything is finally and at last settled. If, depending on which faction comes out on top, there will either be a united Chantry or Chantry. Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Good night.